Okay, namaste to all of you. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here. And Suzanne ji, we cannot thank you enough, and I cannot thank you enough on a personal level. This just a few minutes ago, we were actually standing here, and we were talking about how this thing all came about. And I think looking at this audience, this is a informal enough audience, and our old friends, they are all like doers in this great country, great land, which I had the privilege of actually being born, and now we are bridging the gap between and bringing the best of both. My late father, who passed away about 6 years ago, one of the things that he used to go to America, and and then we would come here, and one of the things he would always tell us and the next generation, of course, that you have the opportunity to bring the best of both. So I would dedicate this session to him, because this has been kind of is in making. And Dr. Suzanne Gilbert knows our children, and she can relate to that. And it's amazing that how things happen, that our previous generation passes, and then when something like this happens in life, we think of them that, oh, they said that, and this is what they meant. So clearly the goal of this session started out, or the theme of this session started out from a discussion that Suzanne ji and I had I would say about 3 years ago, because her efforts and everyone else here, that folks from various NGOs across the country, I've been interacting with many of you over the years, and I've seen you actually do things and then leading into or entering into research field, and the contribution that NGOs have made in India. And then the next layer comes that, since they made the ground fertile, the next generation of researchers come, they build the facility, which some of you have done very nicely. So I think it's time to really get this going. So let's start with this, that we are here, and we'll discuss things informally, and any question and anything else, that whatever comes to your mind, please feel free to stop us, and we'll talk about it, and we'll learn from each other. Okay, so this is just a disclaimer that a lot of things that I said were very personal, and many of you who know me, my style, that I speak from my heart, and that's how we get things done. And earlier session was, the last slide was that if you don't have any passion in your life is not worth living. So I'm very passionate about what the things that I do in international research. So I'm going to give you, some of you know about National Institute of Health. How many of you have not heard of National Institutes of Health, National Eye Institute, sitting here in this audience? Okay, there are a couple maybe, yeah, right here. So let's just quickly, refresh your memory here. This is the National Institute of Health campus. This is an agency of the U.S. government, just like yours, Indian Ministry of Health. We call it Department of Health and Human Services. And our main goal, mandate, is to conduct and support medical research for discovering or for uncovering new knowledge that improves the health of all Americans. But look at that, what it says right after that. I'm looking for the pointer here. Somewhere? Oh, great, thank you. Yeah. So look at this word here. It literally says, and the human condition throughout the world. So when people say, and I'm going to actually qualify this by giving you another information, is when people say, well, I mean, this is research happening in America, American agencies, what do we have, what relations do I have with this program? The NIH programs are available to investigators and researchers around the world. Anyone living in this world can really literally apply for the programs, as long as you follow this mandate that you uncover new knowledge for improving health of human beings, essentially. And I truly believe that anything that's being discovered here in Indore or Chitrakoot or in Delhi or anywhere in this country, if you find something new, there's no reason why we living in America cannot use that information to really improve the life of people, whether they are live in America or anywhere else in the world. So anyway, you could find a lot more information about about this at our website, and there are 27 institutions and centers within the NIH, and they are all dedicated either on organ system basis or on disease areas. So National Eye Institute happens to be one that's dedicated to really working or doing research or anything that relates to science on eye research. And our budget is approximately $800 million just for eye research. And it's not just the scientists who are working in our labs, but about 85% of that money, which is close to $650 million, folks, goes out to support research all over the world, not just America. So it's just for eye research. So think about it. And we have been working in India for many, many years. Dr. Suma is here from Shroff Hospital. She can tell you all about. She has, had collaborations, and there are always things that dealing with two large bureaucracies. United States government and Indian government is always a challenge, but we get things done. So if you look at the international research program in just last, let's say, 3 years, it has gone from really developing and doing about 30 plus projects to close to 180 projects, programs all over the world. And we are working with closely 35 countries. So I don't want to claim this all happened because of few people like us, but it's definitely, there's a lot of passion involved here. There's and there is support from community from all over the world. Yes, sir. Anything I can do? Okay. All right. So our view of international research is that global science is very interconnected. National Eye Institute is very actively involved in global research. Many programs, you just saw that, how our numbers have gone up. We always look for scientific opportunities to identify shared priority. We are working with the government of India on a shared priority. We are supporting unique international opportunities, supporting US grantees to expand collaborations all over the world. We form partnerships, and here's the word. See, with scientists, governments, companies, NGOs, and partnering and leveraging our expertise to work with all of you. So in addition to granting and granting money, funds, and all that, we also have a very important mandate is in terms of training. So you can look at that, the current National Eye Institute postdoctoral fellowships and where they are from, and you can see after US, India literally stands out as number 2. So you can imagine that working with India is a big part of our life. And we are not only training these people, but we are sending them back. Like you can see here, close to 35 people have just come back to India working with us. 3 more minutes. So here, the NGOs that you can read all about it, and we see that NGOs have very strong working relationship with us. All those things what I tell you before we started the first slide. So I've already covered this slide. Yeah, clearly. So our next step essentially is to work with NGOs, add additional training, building more research capabilities, and for providing bed-to-bench side research and bench-to-bedside, and that can all feed into each other. So here, this is one of my favorite quote from Dr. Suzanne Gilbert here. In addition to the prospect of enabling rapid engagement with the larger population, the NGO sector can play, and on your side in building the capacity for research among service providers. So clearly, all those examples are there. This country, the eye researchers, eye program, eye services are very used to working with international NGOs They have made the ground very fertile for research, for doing the next generation of things. So again, this would be my last slide, actually. So NEI, international collaborations, how they are important. This is my boss here, Dr. Paul Sieving, who directs the National Eye Institute. And clearly the questions that we are asking, that where will we train the next generation of researchers to address major problems of global eye diseases? That's the question, right? Are there places in the world where we can actually get information and learn from on things like unusual exposure to toxins? I had gone to visit Chitrakoot, and they told me that, they see a lot of these, trauma cases in that area, and those were all, you cannot find those kind of, research, anything related to. You cannot find the big number where you can actually do a validated research. So that's why it's important. Usually, we see that, every year, sometime it becomes kind of, slow growth, but international collaboration and research publications have really gone up in the last many, many years. It really creates a great scientific excellence, and the publication factors, the impact factors are considered really very, very, highly rated. These are some of the programs that, I was mentioning earlier, that, our collaborations, U.S. collaborations in India. I just mentioned a few names. Some of you are sitting right here. There are new programs that we've started, two big ones, glaucoma and diabetic retinopathy, that are happening right now. And we currently have applications open that will go on for the next another 2 years until we bring the next program. So programs are available right now. If you have the, capacity, please go to the website and work something out. The last I want to mention is that a new program called Global Eye Genetics Consortium that we've started. India is a big part of this, and we are honored to have Dr. Takeshi Iwata, President of Global Eye Genetics Consortium, attending this session, so he's right here. Please take a moment after this session to meet with Dr. Iwata, and there are lots of things that he can tell you about. So I want to thank you very much for, and we look forward to additional discussion here. Okay? Thank you.